Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Review Revision, and in this episode we're looking at Iceland's entry. Now the question is, could this be the start of 10 good years for them? So before we delve in then, let's have a little look back at Ireland's history at Eurovision. Well, they've participated 32 times since 1986, and their best results are currently 2 second place finishes. The first one was in 1999 with Selma. Get through a heartache, just picture a spring day, and play in the bright daylight a while, so give it a chance, you won't regret it. And then the second was in 2009 with Johanna. Falling out of a perfect dream, coming out of the blue. Is it true? Is it all? And last year, it was the one thing that certainly kept me going throughout lockdown. They went viral with their entry, Think About Things. Baby, I can't wait to know. What do you think about things? Believe it, I will always be there, so you can tell me anything and I'll listen. Let's have a little look at this year's entry from them. Could this be another viral hit? How does it keep getting better? Every day I'll find somewhere to go. The time we spend together simply feels good. Right, so let's see what we all thought then. Should we go to you first, Emily?
For me, it was always going to be kind of difficult, kind of more difficult for Iceland coming back with the same act this year, coming back with Daði, Freyr and his kind of little family band. I think it was always going to be hardest for them coming back because of their success last year, because Think About Things offered something that was so kind of different to what we'd seen at like Eurovision and just in kind of music in general. So with kind of that in mind, I was fairly skeptical over what they'd kind of put forward this year. And I think they've done better than I kind of thought they would with this entry. I mean, there's another kind of like lovely message behind the song. I mean, Think About Things was obviously about his daughter, and then 10 years is about his wife. And so I think it is a lovely message, and I do think it makes them all quite endearing. I don't mind the song. I think the song is quite nice. The music video, I assume we've all seen it, is just incredible. The kind of production that went into that is just, I mean, it's hilarious. But I'm not sure how that'll kind of translate onto the Eurovision stage, because I'm not sure you can have kind of like monsters bashing about on kind of houses on the Eurovision stage. So I'm more kind of apprehensive about seeing how it'll do kind of on the stage. And I think the kind of closer we get to Eurovision, when kind of things about kind of staging and stuff maybe start to get leaked, we'll get a bit more of a sense for that. For the moment, I do enjoy the song. I think Daði does like a lot of work for making the song kind of better, because he is such a kind of, when he's performing, you can see he's just such a lovely person, and he's kind of funny and quirky. And yeah, for me, I do enjoy the song, but I'm more kind of apprehensive than kind of perhaps I would be for kind of other entries about how it'll kind of translate on stage.
Yeah, I get that. What about you, Jack? What are your thoughts?
Well, I think the first bit of what you said there about it being always going to be a tough act to follow, I completely echo. It was when you set the bar so high for yourself, it's always going to be so hard to follow up, because either you're accused of trying to do the same thing again and then being accused of being a one-trick pony, or you set yourself up and then fail. And whereas you were quite concerned about its chances and didn't have very high expectations, I did have quite high expectations, and I think they were slightly misplaced, because on reflection, I should have been as you were. I should have thought the bar is so high, they're never going to live up to it. I think this is a valiant effort. I think they've done a good job of doing something that's not exactly the same, but with its own personality, and it's its own thing. But it was never going to live up to Think About Things, and it doesn't live up to Think About Things. Whereas I think they could have won last year with that quite easily, actually, by the time it had become viral and everything on TikTok and on YouTube. I think victory was quite easily in their grasp last time. I don't think this is quite strong enough to take them to that level. And it's a shame because they are one of the victims of their own success, really. And other entries, as I've talked through various videos, Belgium, Greece, Moldova, I didn't like those entries last year. They've taken this year to come back with something far better. But that was because they had quite a low starting point. Iceland had a very, very high starting point. And as I said, they're a victim of their own success. So it's a shame that they are almost the Eurovision casualties of the pandemic, really. They've had the most to lose from the postponement, and unfortunately they've lost it. So yeah, nice. It's a nice song. Unfortunately, it's not the Eurovision winner it could have been.
Yeah, I think I 1000% agree with it, because I think it is like exactly what we both said. I think once you get to the top, there's only one way you can go, and that's down. And I feel like that's what's happened, which is a shame, because he is really charismatic. The whole group of them are really good. I love it because it, to me, feels like he sort of made his own sort of genre, of music in a way, because it's absolutely nuts at parts, but it also makes sense. And I love it. I mean, because you have we do have the return this year of the guitar that has the sparklers and stuff on. So I'm hoping stuff like that will make it onto the stage. And things as well, like, the choir as well. And we've got those dance moves are back again. Not quite, I don't think, as sort of TikTok this time around, if you get what I mean, in terms of the sort of the trend. And yeah, I think it is a real shame, because I think I put money on the fact they probably would have won it last year. And I just don't think it quite makes the mark this year, exactly like you both said, really. I'm quite intrigued, though. What do we think about the scoring? Emily, where would you place it?
So, I mean, despite kind of having a fairly kind of mellow note about kind of the whole song, I have actually put it as number 12. So it is still quite high up for me. I think it should get through the semi-finals all right, because I do think it will. We've said obviously it kind of doesn't stand out compared to kind of last year, but I do think it stands out on its own compared to the other entries in the second semi-final. So I think it should be fine in terms of qualifying. I think where it actually places in the final will be quite interesting, and I think it'll be interesting to see whether the kind of image that the group has carried them through in terms of stuff like the televote. I mean, I don't think that'll kind of go with the juries. I think it'll just kind of depend on what they actually think of the song. But I think Iceland kind of had a bit of a brand from last year with the kind of public. So I think it'll be interesting to see whether that carries them through with the televote. But I think, yeah, it should get through to the final fine. And for me, it's my number 12.
Fairly good outlook there. What are you thinking, Jack? You on the same lines?
Yeah, I'm pretty similar. I think this is definitely a qualifier. There's absolutely no doubt about it. It'll be probably top 3 in the semi. It's when it gets to the final that I'm a little bit more unsure. I think it will do, again, given the sort of mellow note of this, you get the impression that we think it's sort of going to be mid-table, sort of bottom half. I think it will do better than we think. And I think it will do better than the rankings that we're giving it, because, again, it's all a social media strategy, really. It depends how much they attack the same audiences that were making it go viral last year. And if they remind people, if they somehow, even at the beginning of the staging, if they remind people that they are the people that did that and went viral, then I think they stand a good chance of people going, oh yeah, that's them, I'm going to vote for them. Because, I mean, you think about things, was in the top 40, for instance. It was the opening dance of the series on Strictly. So it was like, people do know it. So if they find a way, almost like Lithuania does at the beginning of their discotheque video, if they sort of, because in that video, they're performing on fire and then they sort of move into discotheque. So if you're watching it, you think, oh yeah, that was them. That was sort of, they were the quirky ones from last year. So if they manage to do something similar in the staging, then I think they probably will do better than we think. Probably top 10, maybe the bottom of the top 5 is the best. This isn't a Eurovision winner. It's my number 15 this year, because I think it's a bad song by any means. I just think there are 14 songs that I prefer. And I wasn't enormously sold on Think About Things at the beginning anyway. Don't know, somebody's shouting outside, I don't know what's going on. But it's my number 15 purely because there are 14 songs that I prefer. But it will do fairly well. It's not the winner that it was.
Yeah, I think I very much echo what both of you have said, to be honest. I think the one thing that could help them actually, which I would have thought they're going to capitalize on, obviously what they wear stands out quite a lot with the sort of pixelated heads and things. And I think as they do that, that will probably help carry their brand, especially when they're performing. But yeah, I think I've scored it within my top 10. It's my number 9. I think it will sail through. I think it will do actually quite well. I think like you said, Jack, I think we're probably eyeing more on the side of the caution when it comes to giving the scores and things. But I think that it's because I think this, like we said, it was such a hard act last year. They had so much to follow that they have to really pull out the bag, I think, doing it live. And that'll be interesting to see what happens. I mean, the total score for all of us combined is 36, which is fairly respectable. In the grand scheme, is very good. So, that placing it well within the top half of our table. So, let us know your thoughts. Comment down below. Like if you like the video and if you like them too. And be sure to subscribe and follow us on social media at reveurovision. And you can see plenty more content there too. But we'll be back tomorrow with another episode reviewing another country's entry. See you then.